What's up, everybody? This week is all about YouTube. We go over our recent analytics, our strategy for improving, and how we already have haters. Look, Mom, we made it.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Straight Shot Studios podcast. This is your not constant host, Grace Santos, and with your constant host, Frank Arroyo, CEO of Straight Shot Post and Straight Shot Studios. And I don't know, this week was a funky week.
We just saw a video before we started this podcast from Unity about their new MetaHumans animation application that's going to be coming out in a few months. That's remarkable.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I can't believe
it's ridiculous.
It.
Basically, you're going to be able to create 3D models using your phone in a couple of minutes. And, I was already telling Grace, like, dude, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make avatars of ourselves, use AI voice generators, and basically replicate us. So there'll be a real us, there'll be 3D avatar version of us, and then with those avatars and those puppets, essentially, we'll also be able to probably turn those into like virtual actors for our own property. It's just insane. The tools are going to allow us to create and tell stories in much more efficient ways than we ever have. And honestly, I'm really excited about it because I feel like it's all the things that were barriers to getting things made are just kind of slowly getting stripped away.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was accessible on your phone. I was like, this sounds like a really expensive thing, but I guess it's going to be free.
I don't know if the application will be free. I'm sure it'll be part of, a monthly service, but of course, I mean, it's going to be worth it, right?
Totally.
For what it does. I mean, I think it's going to be focused right now on video game creators, right? Because that's where you're going to want to really do great, facial capture. Also obviously for like high-end movies as well. I think Avatar, for example, used much more expensive versions of this technology.
So this is going to come for animators, both animators
and
actors. No?
What are you doing, Grace? Why are you hitting the panic button? Why are you going to make everybody think about the jobs right now? That's where everybody's scared.
I mean, that's where my mind goes. And I'm curious, though. Like, where does it go? I mean, it takes, like, animators for sure. And then I feel like acting, too, right? Like, actors. I feel like it could come for actors. Because I was always thinking, what's a job that, the AI can't do? And I was like, acting, I feel like I don't know if they can do. But now it looks like they can.
I'm going to hit you with something crazy already, too. Yeah, yesterday I was watching that there is an AI modeling agency.
Whoa, models too. Interesting. How does that work?
How does that work?
How do they walk the runway?
It's not for that kind of modeling. It's like every internet ad, every commercial, basically everything that's, not a live in-person event. You won't need a hand model anymore. You'll use this AI hand model, or you won't need them to do tutorials and walkthroughs or onboarding videos. You're going to just literally, it'll be us too. That's at least in our world. We basically will turn you right into an AI model, and then you'll do an onboarding video for people coming into the company. How crazy is that going to be? So it'll still look like you, talk like you, have your mannerisms. But
it was creepy. It was creepy. We were going over a video that we put out on YouTube yesterday. And then you asked me, Dale was like, did you do the VO for this when we were watching it? And I genuinely could not figure it out. I was like, I might have, but also this sounds like AI, but also it's my voice. It's like, we spit my voice into the AI generator, and now it just speaks for me in my voice with my tone and mannerisms. And I genuinely couldn't tell if it was me or AI. It's so freaky. I mean, after listening to it for a while, I realized it's AI, but it was freaky. I
think on that note, I think the even more important part is like, did it hurt performance? No, that's our best performing video to date. We have over 1,000 views in a day on it.
Yeah.
It's like,
if the AI does come for all of our jobs, though, I like wonder what's gonna happen. Like, if it is gonna be like WALL-E, like,
why are you going? Oh God! All right, you want to get existential with it? Fine, give me a second, okay?
You're in an existential looking place today, so I think.
Oh yes,
I think it's the vibe.
This is
you
me.
look like you're an avatar, like one of the what is it? The air
Waterbending
temples
stuff.
No,
oh,
the air
the air
temples.
temple. True that. I just see
Yeah.
that I'm in the icy snow and thought water. But you're right, Carl. We're about to
That's what I'm
get
thinking.
nomadic. Yeah, if you want to get existential with it, there is no way around the fact that it's going to take a lot of jobs. Of course it is.
But then I'm like, what? My mind just skipped to like, if it takes all the jobs and then we're not working, is it just going to be like we don't need money anymore and we're kind of just going to be living and vibing and like, what's
now
gonna
here's
happen?
so. I mean, I've watched so much of this content. There's no one knows, obviously, but there's a couple of big theories. Number one is at this, for example, well, as in people are working on different things. OpenAI, who are the creators of ChatGPT and DALL-E and other AI software, are also undertaking, I think, the largest UBI experiment at the same time. Do you know what that is? Universal Basic Income? It means giving people money. Just giving them money. So, yeah. It's
Wait,
like,
they're testing this?
Yeah. They're
How?
running like a study. They probably picked, I don't know, 1,000
Oh,
families.
like an
And then
experiment?
they're going to test and see what happens. Andrew Yang was talking about this as being a possible solution, which is you need to give people a basic income so that they can survive, and then, everything will be okay, essentially. Then, of course, you have the people that are saying, dude, if you give people money, they're going to have no incentive to do stuff. People argue back and forth. But the other thing that people feel very confident in is, well, essentially, we're hardwired to try to contribute to the pack, right? Evolutionarily. So the real thing is, if you don't have purpose, what happens? Okay, that's the existential question. People think, oh, it's going to be great not to work. But do you, remember what the pandemic, how long until you went crazy, right?
It's so funny though, because when I'm extrapolating now, like taking it out to a conversation we have where we talk about, Gen Z looks to find so much fulfillment in their job, unlike the past generations where they just go to work, and then they find fulfillment elsewhere in life. And so it's interesting that now it's like, no, the job is what gives us fulfillment, and if we take that away, will we have no fulfillment? It's funny that became the conversation.
Well, it's one of them. Again, no one knows what's going to happen or how it's going to really pan out. But thousands of jobs, eventually, because the reality is we're at the beginning. So eventually, most, if not everything, is going to get automated. The true conversation, the really nerdy one that I was watching like a 3-hour podcast Tom Belayu did on this with, I forgot the guy's his guest's name. But they were basically saying, everybody kind of has everybody who seems to know a lot about it has somewhat of a pretty, I guess, shared approach that this ends with us either augmenting with the robots. So, the next stage of human evolution is basically man and robot together. Or the robots are the next, basically, which is kind of beautiful for me, but it's kind of sad, but basically that the robots are the next step in evolution, and they will be the more superior species and eventually replace us, right?
Oh my God, what if we become like pets?
Basically.
Like that? That's so interesting.
You have to think about it as in, no one understands this, but, it's how does Einstein think about an ant on the ground? That's the
right.
level
That's
of, cognitive difference that there's going to be.
Is that what they said in the podcast?
Yeah. But it's basically the magnitude of quote unquote hard intelligence.
It's that big. I was
will
thinking,
be that big.
Man to dog, but you're saying man to ant. That's even bigger
As far as,
I think.
again, this is as far as just how smart it will be.
Right. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
I could see that. Wow.
So that's why things are really interesting and really spicy. But the reality is nobody can stop it, so you need to
YOLO.
adapt. Yep. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm just the progress is going to continue. It is incredible. It will allow us to advance our entire civilization so fast. But you got to remember, the technology is moving so fast and our brain and our evolution is so slow. So the gap is already wide, as in the algorithms already know how to manipulate us because we're basic.
Yeah.
Well, what if the algorithms could think, right? the level of sophistication and how we can easily be manipulated because of emotions and things like that. I mean, yeah, of course. It's gonna.
That's wild.
Yeah. Henceforth,
like-
fam, get self-aware. Wake up. Figure out what your triggers are, how to control your emotions. Because if you're not in control of it, something else will be. End of story. That's where we're at now. And we know this because we have viral videos, so we know exactly how to get you to click. And it's honestly, it's easier than I thought it would be.
But we just started.
That's what's scary.
But we just, and I feel like, okay, so this week Dale and I went to a Latinx filmmakers mixer.
Yeah, that was awesome.
On Monday. Yeah, that was awesome. We met some Latin filmmakers. It was really cool. And one of them, I was talking with a guy. He was like filming the event, and he's also an editor. Yeah, the videographer who is also an editor, and he said he used to edit for this famous. Now she's like internet famous, and she got a Netflix show. But she's a Chinese woman who is doing. I don't know what her YouTube videos are about actually, about fashion or about being something about fashion, that kind of world. Anyway, he was saying that when he was first starting and editing, he was like, it's so impossible to guess what the algorithm is going to do. And he's like, it's really difficult and, it's very unpredictable. So I don't know. That made me expect, because we've been seeing pretty readable trends, but I'm like, is it gonna change all of a sudden? Like, is it gonna,
it
get
could,
confusing?
But fundamentally, okay, here's my outlook. Fundamentally, all that YouTube is trying to do is make their viewers happy. If their viewers are happy, they will come back for more, right? So then fundamentally, if our videos had high satisfaction for the viewer, they're gonna push it. And now that does sound vague, but it's not that, I really don't think it's that hard. I know it's terrible, and maybe our channels will go nowhere or anything like that. And I'm saying it's hard. What's hard, hold on, let me be clear. It's hard to execute at a high level, day in, day out, passionately, iterating, learning consistently over and over and over time. Like, yes. But it's execution based. The thing is, what's not that hard is that because it's all fundamentals, it's storytelling fundamentals. So, yes, we just started, but the videos that we're putting out, like literally some of the comments, we had a comment of somebody just saying, hey, you guys did a good job on this video. It's like one comment. I'm getting a lot of hate. Yeah, but you could work on that. You could change that.
Yeah, that's true.
Which we did this week, didn't we? We already started moving we already started re-editing.
I guess, but people
that's what I mean.
Aren't people? I don't know. Actually, I haven't seen the comments, so I don't know. But
it doesn't even matter, bro. You're scratching the surface. There's 2 billion people on YouTube. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, there's so many more people to think about, and not to mention they're still clicking and engaging, right?
That's true.
So this is where I'm just saying that I thought it seems impossible, but if you really do focus and think and try to understand what your audience would like, I think there's plenty that you can do. I guess that's more what I'm saying, Grace, is I felt very much out of my control, like he was saying. Like, I don't have that feeling anymore. I think it's very much in our control.
But then
to figure out.
I understand, what confuses me is that all the YouTube people have the same kind of analytics.
Uh-huh.
Then why
isn't everybody succeeding?
Yeah.
Because they're not doing it. They're not doing what's required. Here, let's get specific so that people really have an understanding. When we went to start our Straight Shot Studios content, which if you haven't seen it, please check it out so you can get a sense of what we're talking about. Right now, the one series that we're running on our channel is Sub versus Dubs, where Grace, who speaks Japanese, is watching anime clips and breaking them down and reacting to them and talking about the translation, the language, what she thinks of the English performance, because she has an acting background, a voice acting background, et cetera, right? And obviously speaks and grew up with anime, and so she has a different relationship with it. That's not where we started. We did 30 videos that did not work before we did one video that did, right? Where we started was just try a bunch of stuff. We're talking specifically, this was like brand new niche. We're like, we want to enter an anime and webtoons niche. What do we do? Right? Because we know that's the kind of content we're going to make in the future. And the first thing was, okay, well, we should put somebody from our crew in it. We know faces are going to do good. And we started with outdoing that because we couldn't figure it out. And we wanted to figure out something that was sustainable to shoot, something that we would have fun doing. So we thought about it, is what I'm saying, Grace. Like, it wasn't right. We put out these little silly videos, and I remember watching them. I was like, I don't think these are good. But let's see what the people think. And yes, they weren't that good. And so I said, let's widen the funnel. Let's open it up, right? What do I mean by that? That means I said, let's try to reach a broader audience. Let's escape from webtoons and go to a bigger market, like anime. What can we make in anime? And it was, what can we make in anime that also gets people to get to know who we are? Then it was, what can we make in anime that gets people to know who we are that we would like doing so we could be sustainable and actually have our personalities come through? Do you see what I mean? Like, you just have to do the work. How did we start? We started by turning the cameras on ourselves 6 months ago, practicing on this podcast every single week, except for 1 week that you disrespected me. And then every other week we have stayed committed, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. You're wondering, how is it that we have, even right now, decent success getting started? It's like, because we didn't just get started. We've been practicing, and we put a lot of thought into what might actually work, and we tried a bunch of stuff, right? We tried a whole bunch of stuff, and then finally we landed on something that kind of works.
With your background right now, this felt so inspirational. I'm like, wow.
Oh my God.
We did come a long way.
Yeah, but that's kind of the way I want you to think about it, right? Like, I mean, honestly, I'm not saying the way I want you to think about it. I'm like, that's what it is if you look at it. Is we started with Snapchat a year ago, basically. It's almost April 1st, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
We learned there. We used those analytics. In October, we said, all right, we're going to take it from there. We're going to try this on YouTube. We grew that YouTube channel to 20,000 subscribers in 4 to 5 months, right? Mm-hmm. Then we said, okay, time to take this to our own thing. And we sucked for a whole month. And it's not like we're getting 1,000 to 5,000 per YouTube short. We're not talking about millions yet, but we're seeing sustainable growth. We got 150 subs in a month in a smaller niche. That's really a long plan. And I feel great about it. But do you see what I mean? Where I feel like it's controllable? That's all. So essentially, when you break it down and we say, okay, we're going to get 5 to 10 subs per video. So we just got to keep making banger videos, listen to our audience, respond in kind, and we're guaranteed to get that 5 to 10 per video. And then you multiply that out by how many videos you can do that maintain the certain quality, and you see a path. You see the path. That's what happened. Now that I see the path, I'm like, okay, sweet. So the question is, of course, like everything else, how long can we handle the pain? It's a game of perseverance now. Can we last long enough to see the true fruits of this thing? Are we going to make it? And that's why when you're looking at success elsewhere, it's like who suffered who got through it. That's how I look at it. Okay. But yeah, it's interesting to bring it up in that. That's why I was like, to use a specific example of our own content, I think does make sense. And then
I was talking more about like analytics, but you brought it to like a holistic thing.
Because that's what it is most of the time.
Dude, I guess so.
And they're not like looking, reading, caring about the analytics. They're not trying. Okay. They're not thinking like I know it sounds harsh, but I mean.
But then I'm like, how can they not? In my mind, I feel like everyone, but I don't know.
Yeah, but you're okay. I hear exactly what you're saying, but let's just be respectful to the fact that it's a craft and a skill. As in, some are better than others, some care more than others, some put in more work than others.
Totally.
Yeah. I just, it's like, if you look at it like that, like, for example, Grace, I'll flip it. I'll say, why doesn't everybody that loves basketball make it to the NBA?
Yeah. Their height to start with. Yeah.
So there might be some natural proclivities, right? There might be some natural differences, but more than that, who's going to be obsessed enough to wake up at 6 a.m., train for 2 hours, go to school, then back to practice, right? Every single day, obsessively for 10, 15, 20, 30 years like a LeBron, who's going to spend $2 million on their body every year to perform at that level, right? Just watch Kobe Bryant speak and watch The Last Dance, and you'll be like, oh, that's what it takes to be the best in the world. I don't know if that's for everybody, right? So when it comes to this, I mean, I know it's silly to think about it now because I was terrified going in. I am terrified every day, but it's a good feeling, right? It's like a good scary. I am scared. But I was scared because what's crazy about YouTube and social media is that the feedback is instant. Like your skills are put to the test and you actually know. So like before I was a safe artist, stories in my head. It's so good. Every time I tell Grace, she smiles and laughs. Ha ha ha. I know I'm good. No, bro. You know what I mean? All of a sudden we put something out. 5 people see it. Nobody likes it. We're like, maybe it's not as good as we thought it would be. So you're really tested in that manner.
But also, I've seen the opposite of like something I don't something I don't personally think is really cool, and everyone's responding to it really well. So that's interesting.
I think exactly. So it tells you the game of predicting your audience develops, and audiences change, and audiences grow. And it's about being empathetic, right? Using tactical empathy, like we talk about all the time, to like really understand who we're trying to reach. And that's why in the beginning you just start with what are all the things I think would be funny and that would work. So we did learn a good example from this week would be we laugh at stuff that Grace does because we know Grace, we think she's amazing. And just seeing you react makes us happy. But that's because we already like you as a human being and your character is great. Now, when we put videos on YouTube that are just Grace reacting or having a funny moment, they didn't perform as well. And it sounds so obvious the way I'm saying it now, but we were laughing at the videos, and so we thought we'd put them up. They're not severely underperforming, but essentially what we realized is in the beginning, until we really build an audience that comes for Grace, we need to make sure the valuable is extremely tangible from a third-party perspective. Why are they coming? They're coming to learn about Naruto. They're coming to learn about this fact about Japanese food or Japanese language. And then they're like, oh, who's this cool girl telling that to me? I bet in 2 years, if we put out the same video, it would perform much better. And then they'd be commenting, oh my God, Grace, you're so funny when you do that, right?
It's so funny because, I mean, this was my first time really putting out content. See, I've put out I could say maybe 2 YouTube videos in the past, and that I filmed and edited myself, so I knew how I was coming off, and so then the comments made sense to me. But this content I didn't edit, and seeing how ruthless it made me come out, no hate to the editor though, because I think the videos are hilarious, but then putting myself in a third person perspective watching these videos, I realized how mean I seemed, and then it was such an interesting experience. And I mean, it immediately informs how I'm going to do the videos next time.
100%. It's okay. So that's what I mean. Some people don't do that. Some people can't do that.
How can you not?
Because it's really hard to step away from yourself sometimes and do things you don't necessarily. Yeah. You know, we're talking about self-awareness here. That's not that easy.
I immediately saw it and I was like, never again, not doing that.
But okay, now that could also, you see how that happens, and like it also like that could also happen exactly, where it's like no. The answer should be no, don't do that ever. The answer should be not do it ever.
Yeah, I know.
The point is either way, nuanced. People are
nuanced,
exactly. People are missing out on the nuance. They're not doing the work to actually figure out why or why not. Like we really psychologically said. No, it's not that you can be negative in these ways. I've been saying
I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to be negative. I say it in very absolute terms, but I know that what I mean by that is that yes, to be of course. Yeah. But what I mean by that is, you know, in the hour that I'm shooting, maybe 20 or 10 or 20 minutes of it will be me being angry, and the rest of it will be, you know, a third of it will be me giving factoids, and a third of it will be, I'll switch my language for when I compliment the English to be more positive words and more positive facial expressions. And yeah, that's my version. That's my explanation of saying I'm not doing that again, but nuanced.
Yeah, because like it's okay if you're a hater. You speak Japanese. You grew up with it in Japanese. So I'm not. That's
it's interesting though, because
you want it to be authentic to your experience, but if I may, Grace, I'm gonna, of course, just give me 1 second, because I want to make sure that people understand that what we're talking about here is making sure that it's authentic to Grace's experience, but also respectful of the community that she's reaching out to. And that was the thing, of course, and it's nuanced to the sense that we were talking about older anime shows that people grew up with in English, whereas newer with streaming and stuff, people are really much more used to the sub and the dub and all those things. And so we realized it's not like she can't speak her truth. It's just that it's a specific language thing. It's like some people get triggered by certain words, for example. So we're talking about it on a more mechanical performance level. And I want to say one of the things that I think really helped is that we are doing everything we can, and we're creating, again, Grace is a performer, so she can do this. She's basically recognizing it's a persona that she has in these videos, not really who she is.
Well, yeah, it's funny. I showed the videos to my best friend who's a sister to me, and she was shocked. She was like, this is you, but it's also like, who are you? So it's funny.
So yes, you wanted to go
persona.
On?
Yeah. What?
I cut you off in the middle of a thought.
I forgot.
Oh.
Straight up, I don't know what I was gonna say.
But I think it's important to look at this sort of cycle of create content, analyze content, recreate content that is better, right? And I do a lot of workout analogies. So the analogy here is you grow muscle when you're resting, not when you're lifting. And so we try to maintain that. So we don't look at the numbers too much. I had to actually tell one of my editors, do not. He was like, I noticed in the 2 videos that didn't perform, I'm like, 2 videos, small sample size, could be this, could be that. Guess what? It turned out it was the time we posted that had the biggest impact. So that's where you don't want to work on too much at once. Right now for Grace, she might be just saying, I want to work on not even being negative less, but when I'm being positive, being bigger and more direct about it, and keep everything else the same and see if that makes a difference, and we don't lose the things that we liked by it. And you sort of iterate one thing at a time.
I remember now. I was going to say, when I first started this YouTube stuff, I felt so awkward just standing there. And even when I did the videos before the sub versus dub, the Marionetta recaps I was reacting to, I felt awkward because I had no direction, and I'm used to having a director tell me, this is your objective, kind of. So then I took sub versus dub as a Japanese person to be, the goal is to on the dub. That was like in my brain, consciously or subconsciously, is like, you're not supposed to like the English and you're supposed to say why. So I think all of my videos turned out that way. But now I have an idea of what direction to take it to, which is much better. Feels much better now. I know, I need direction. I didn't know what I was doing.
I'll get extra nerdy here, because they made her do Cowboy Bebop, which looking back, I don't know why I let them do that. You're treading on sacred ground, and if we're gonna and it's one of my favorites, so why would we do that when we suck? Do you know what I mean? And honestly, I'm not happy with it so far. And we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna make us do it again. We're gonna put it out. We're gonna do it again for sure. But what I learned from that experience was that, Grace, basically, she didn't even have a baseline for what a good dub even looks like, right? And so you could see that she was finding reasons to not like a certain thing.
Right.
Today, I showed her the opening of the Cowboy Bebop movie, and she was like already getting the hots over Spike. Like, she was like, this dude is so hot. And I was like, see, and this is the English dub. And it was well done, right? And funny and like And that's where I was just like, see, that's the thing. You need more context, for certain things. And I know that if you went and did this video now, if you watch the show, And so I think that, again, I'm not afraid. You have to not be afraid to get it wrong is really important. Because you have to have the self-belief that you're going to get it right. Going to in time. So you have to kill the fear of getting it wrong and just put all your eggs in the I'm good enough to figure this out basket.
And I feel like I have such a, not that all of these studio videos are about me, but because it is like a team effort, but it is a team effort. Stop saying like, Grace. But, but I feel very fortunate to have such a nice, supportive group where I feel like the feedback is very objective and I haven't felt insecure, personally attacked, shy or anything. So I haven't felt fear of failing. So it's been great. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, I think truly talking to this week when I said, hey, we need to create a persona. You need to do a character background, character sheet.
That too.
We need to really understand this. That was big for me to help me also judge and give feedback.
For giving feedback?
That wasn't saying, Grace, you're, Grace, you're a problem. You're being so mean and negative, right?
Right.
I felt like that was a big, thinking about it that way as like, this is a video with a character. This character's coming off this way. Can we make adjustments? I thought that was a lot healthier.
Yes, totally. I agree. And also something that I didn't realize I would feel is I feel so much safety in the editor.
Oh, so true. Me too.
Because he's editing my face all day long. And when we come into the review room, I feel a little, because I didn't know him before and I felt a little weird at first. But now he's such a cool guy. I feel
and also
comfortable with him seeing all my lip crust, all of my crusty footage.
I will say the other thing is, which I think is a company culture thing, is like we are so aggressive about people saying their piece or speaking their mind if we're all once we're aligned and heading towards a common goal, that his feedback has been very valuable. Hey, I think this is what did you do well? Hey, I think this was the stuff that I found most engaging. And when you're in the beginning, that's kind of the best place to start with. The good news is the stuff that he and I think is going to work tends to work. And that's where I keep telling the team, good, if we get good at predicting this, then you can make it consistent. Then this whole thing about, as the whole conversation started with, oh, the algorithm has all the power. I can't do anything about it. It goes away. Where I'm like, no. We can see the patterns and we can train ourselves to sync up with our audience and make it easier. It may, and of course it's not like perfect. It's like, you're right. Sometimes videos are going to do way better than we thought, way worse than we thought, but you iterate on it. What's beautiful about this is you're building a body of work. So like I was talking to a friend who is doing a short film. And I said, yeah, see, that's the thing about it, about these like one-off projects is they have short legs and you don't really get to evolve. So with what's happening here, we can get better at the storytelling. We can get better at understanding the audience. If you're just doing a one-off project, you're kind of taking a shot in the dark, and I think it's just so much more risky. Like, we're building a body of work is what I'm saying. So we can continue. It's like you don't get one at bat. I'm not blowing my entire funds on a single film that if it doesn't get into Sundance, my career's over, right?
And the videos come out so fast too,
In what do you mean? Yeah, but that's
compared to film, you spent all this time making
time,
it just for the reward. Yeah, versus our videos. I mean, I shot for only 2 hours total, and I feel like we're set for a while, video-wise.
But that took a lot of thought to figure out. And now now we get excited about it. And I guess I want to remind people, like, our end goal isn't sub versus dub content only, right? Yeah. As in, if you're starting backwards, we're like, yes, but this is great. Top of the funnel, get a wide audience, content. Eventually, we're going to start, once they start to get to know us and trust us, it's like the best way to think about it is doing covers and then being a cover band. And after you've got people to like your voice and how you perform, then you start dropping in some originals. You know what I mean? And if you look at any artist, they're going to do covers, right? So I think we just kind of are playing off of some fundamental stuff here that, if executed well, does work. Like, it is working And it is growing naturally. And I think that's important because feeling like you have no control, full circle back to the AI thing. You have no control over your outcomes. That is, I think, really debilitating, at least for me. And I'm somebody who needs to feel like what I do matters. And that's, I think that's at the heart of what a lot of the Gen Z thing is. Because when I'm talking to a lot of the interns, when I'm hiring new people, the simplest word I would dumb it down to is impact. They all express that they want to feel like they have an impact in whatever the company's outcomes, basically, which honestly is a beautiful thing,
It's interesting. I don't know if I've felt that way, but that might be because I've only ever been here, where I guess I do have an impact, but I haven't felt otherwise of not having an impact. And if I have felt that, I might be passionate about it, but I don't know.
Well, the thing is, that's something that they wanted even coming in. But it's really, I'm going to be honest, it's really hard to use you as an example because you have a very rare personality type and all of that. But
I guess so. I'm pretty Gen Z, I think. I don't know.
No, I'm just throwing it out there. But
I don't know.
you definitely do want to matter. Like you're chill about it all.
Right.
But like we had a whole episode about your jealousy for not being able to get involved in the way that you wanted. Actually.
Oh yeah! Shout out to the jealousy episode.
Yeah, I think we just put out a clip about it, and I saw some people
jealousy at the workplace
liking it. Yeah. But basically, it's something you don't think about if you feel like.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like I have that, so then it's not something I've actively sought.
Yeah, to me, I'm talking about every interview. Whenever I'm catching up with interns about the future, if they want to do another semester, what their plans are and their goals are, you hear a lot of things that come down to like, I don't just want to, I want to be kind of known. I want to be in a community. I'm sure the pandemic had a lot to do with that too. Where they're just like,
totally,
please.
Of course.
Yeah. So, I think it's very interesting overall. But I would say if we're trying to sum up this week, there was a lot to be learned about this kind of content that we're creating with one of our, dearest team members, Grace, over here, right?
I wanted to say about this. My mom came over last weekend and I was showing her. Yeah, I was showing her some of the videos, and it was hilarious that not only her reactions to the videos, but just her whole visit. She basically just came over to my apartment to give me chocolate from Paris because she was in Paris.
Nice.
And she wanted to try them with me. So
you didn't bring that over here, I see, though. Oh, you get to eat my snacks, but you don't want to. I see how it is. Okay. This girl's been dogging my rainbow cookies all week.
You've been offering. I haven't asked. I know that you don't. I feel like you didn't want me to ask, so I didn't, but you've been offering it. But anyway, so she came over for that, and the whole interaction, I just realized, because I haven't seen her in a month, but still, it reminded me of how much I'm like her. And to the point where when she watched the videos, because when we watch it here, we all laugh. When she watched it, she didn't laugh. She was like, oh, that's true. So like the video where there's a video where I'm commenting on the mom's acting. There's a mother in Naruto I was like, why did she talk like wah, 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 wah. My mom, not even a smile. She's like, that's so true. And then she starts doing it too. She's like, wah, 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 wah. They always talk like that. And I was like, wow, this is where I get it from. And, when we were unboxing the chocolates, she had like maybe 4 boxes of them. Every time we opened it, we were screaming. We were like, ah, oh, we had the same reactions. It's so interesting. So I think I get it from her.
Oh, I love it. She must be looking into a mirror,
funny. Yeah.
That's so cool for her. We will definitely, I said it before, but like now I'm even more sold that we're going to definitely do Grace and her mom for a few episodes.
It's going to be identical.
It's going to kill. It's going to kill. It's going to be so good. But yeah, I mean, at least she was engaged, right? If she said, oh, that's so true. And she wanted to talk
yeah. She was engaged.
Great.
She just wasn't laughing. Yeah.
Does it? You know what I mean?
Though.
And that's what I mean. Is like if you're good at telling stories and you understand, how to build pace and tension and stuff like that. I really do think a lot of it. I guess I was really scared because I didn't know if it would work. Like I was like, I mean, I spent all this time training and I've done it for these guys and these brands and these people, But like, what if it doesn't work? What if nobody likes it, right? Just like, I'm a normal artist, just like everybody else. What if nobody likes it?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I guess doing it made me go, damn. I mean, if it didn't work, we'd be having another story, right?
Yeah.
But like, I was like, oh, thank God we found something that worked. And also, like, more importantly, I believed in it, you know?
Yeah.
So the fact that I can then, so I can kind of predict something that can work, which, by the way, and I know I said this in the last episode, was like, it's not like this was easy to get through. There was a lot of pushback about doing this content to begin with. That I was like, yes, but from everything I've seen and researched and my knowledge as a storyteller and like the psychology of why people like reaction videos and all this and that, and it's like the combination, and I wouldn't have done it without Grace. I was like, and you don't understand. I basically had to tell everybody because I think that's what it was. They just didn't know. I was like,
They don't know me?
Yeah, not that way. I was like, dude, Grace, just please, just put this woman, let's just try it once. Just put this woman in front of a camera. And then you saw the next week, they were all like, oh my God, Grace, haha. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, see, I knew this, you know? So it's got to be a combination of working with what you've got and being able to understand how to tell stories within this tool set. So it's a combination, but it's skill. You know, it's skill and it's training. I've been training at this for 15 years obsessively, and I'm really excited about it. It's not like it's always gonna work because you're always taking a guess, but like, I believe more in our ability than any one given thing. That's where I'm at now. And I think that's what this week was big on, because we did have some videos that tanked, and it was like, and I did not bat an eye. I was like, no, it's not the video. The video's good. Let's change it up, put it out next week in this manner. And sure enough, on Instagram, it did really well, right? So I was like, okay. I think that's also what's great about this is if you're doing it to all these platforms, you get a lot of data, you know, like.
Which video and what change was made?
The video that we did a video where Grace is fangirling over Sasuke from Naruto.
Yes.
To which I think the video could have been better, but you know, that video literally had like 30 views on YouTube, and I was like, no way.
So you cut the beginning part?
No, we didn't make any changes to it.
Oh.
This is, again, there are a lot of variables. I said, there's no way this is a 30 view video. I didn't believe it. What happened is the next day, when I checked Instagram, it had 12,000 views and like 12 comments. And I was like, okay, so it's definitely not the video. So that is when I decided, because we had changed the time that we were posting to an earlier time slot. And I said, yo, girl, to Heather, I said, hey, homegirl, can you do me a favor and push it back to the 9 p.m. and see what happens tonight? And sure enough, we saw like a back to kind of normal.
For the same video or the next video?
For the next video. But that's when I said to her, great, you're going to delete the 2 videos and post them next week at our regular time and see what happens.
Interesting.
So that's where that's what I mean. That's learning too. Whereas the editor, for example, saw the same data set. Now you want to talk nerdy about analytics. He saw the same data set and thought, damn, the opening of the video needs to change. Yeah. So I was like, no, whoa. You know, you got to learn how to read the data. You got to learn what's good data. Right? You got to sample size, yada, yada, yada. A whole bunch of different things come into it. I'm obviously INTJ, pattern recognition, you know. So I was the one that said, whoa, no. You know? And again, it also showed everybody how quickly I was going to change because, you know, now I was like, Heather, why didn't you tell? Because I was reading the chart wrong. It's like, we can have debate, but literally I was just wrong. I was like, hey, it says 6 p.m. is when most people are on. But if you zoom in, it's like 9 p.m. So I don't know why she didn't just say, bro, like zoom in. Like, it's 9 p.m., not 6 p.m. What are you talking about? I would have been like, oh, you're right. It's color-coded. Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of what I mean. And you're thinking, does time of day make the biggest difference? No, but maybe, right? Like, we don't know. Yeah. And so like, yeah, we only change one variable at a time, and it's YouTube Shorts, not YouTube Long. I think on YouTube Long, it doesn't hate they'll say time of day doesn't really affect the long-term views, right? But shorts are way more short. Our shorts right now, They have a tiny window where they get traction. And so that's what it is. We're going to maximize that window. I think over time, like I think in a few years, it won't really matter when we post. We'll still post. We'll still min-max it. But what I'm saying is it wasn't the first thing I cared about. The first thing I cared about was like, is this good? Is the opening engaging? Does Grace have good performances? Does our editor understand why it works or not? To us. Then we get the data from the audience and we go, okay, good. This one got 5,000. This one got 1. Why? Okay, great. Let's see if we can replicate it. As we learn how to replicate it, we'll get more 5s, and then 5s will become 10s, and 10s will become hundreds of thousands, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at, I hope. The big thing that we're going to be testing to sort of land the plane here is we're going to be dropping some of our first long-form videos today, actually. So there's going to be a whole other thing to learn from there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited. I mean,
Cool.
Slow and steady.
Is it the Naruto
marionette recap. You're going to be recapping some webtoons, and you're going to be doing Naruto. Those are coming out.
Oh, cool. That feels like Christmas when you said that.
Nice. And so look, dude, we don't know 5, 10, 0s, but we found one thing that works, and now we're going to try to find another. Either way, if you guys take anything from this particular episode, it's about how we look at the process, And I guess I want to close by saying I understand, to sort of come back to what Grace had brought up originally, is like, why, if the sort of process is this simple, like, why is it so hard for people to do it and stick to it? It's because execution is not easy. The thinking and the game planning and the puzzling and the learning and the emotional part. Like, I think you said it best earlier. What if you were alone doing this on your own, Grace?
There's no way.
Emotionally,
no
even
way.
How are you going to do it? You have a team of people here that's helping. To see you.
I thought
ways.
It was too hard just to set up the freaking camera. I can't imagine editing this thing and then putting my brain to,
Yeah.
Oh
so
my God, no.
mad respect to all the, the individual content creators out there.
Yeah.
Mad respect for that. But fundamentally, all I think it really means is you just go slower, which is fine, right?
Right.
You would go slower. You'd have a lot more terrible videos before you got to good videos. You would be editing it yourself at a different, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually it would grow, and then you would hire an editor or whatever. For us, because we have a company and we're really, we're not generating our revenue, like our main revenue from YouTube. This is a long-term investment for us. Mm-hmm. So, we can spend some money on it, and we're just looking at spending it in the most efficient manner. Process is still the same. You just wouldn't have as many minds on it, right? So it would just go slower, and you'd build up your experience. But if you're asking the same questions that we are, and if you're studying the same things that we are, you'll get there no matter what. And I would say that you have a bigger benefit because if you start this when you're in your teens or in your early 20s, just like look what happened to Jimmy Beast, man.
Is his last name Beast?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that'd be baller. Okay.
But Mr. Beast, that's exactly what he did. And so
I just had a moment, like an existential moment, though. It's like now people, if they Google me, they're just gonna see this.
Yeah. Which is why, to be clear, this is why, with all the different things we were trying, we wanted to make sure it was something you liked. That was one of the main reasons. Because, you're going to want to stick with it. You're going to build... Dude, as many haters as you have, you're also going to have fans, right? And you're going to have more fans than haters. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, you're too good. So, that's where I think it's going to be exciting to see how it goes. But with that said, I think we should start to wrap this one up. I think we definitely also talked... I don't know how much in depth we went last week, but we're gonna stick with this... strategy kind of conversation. We'll probably start diving next week into stuff we're doing for our webtoon, which is a completely different thing. We had an epiphany this week about that too, right?
Yeah.
So, if you guys are interested in any of this content, please don't forget to like and subscribe, whatever platform of choice you are getting this on. We really appreciate it. And let's close this bad boy out. Do we have a life hack this week?
Life hack. You know, I have one, but it might be, people might say, duh, Grace, but I have officially converted to Google Maps. I have been using Apple Maps. I was such a proponent of Apple Maps is better, but then this week I realized Google does it best.
You're crazy.
I was trying to find a cross street. I was doing a location thing for Sophie's movie, and she just sent me a cross street, you know, this by this, and I put it into Apple Maps, and it didn't find it for me, and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna find this, but I just went to Google and it found it for me, so I'm converted.
There's a really funny video that I'm gonna send you after this.
Okay.
And link it in the description if we can find it, or do a pinned comment. It was like an old, really funny, like, meme video about a Apple Maps commercial that started at like a suburban block and ended at the house from The Shining. It's hilarious. Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's like all in the ice and whatever. And you're like, how did we get here? You know? And I was like, yeah, that's Apple. That's what Maps is. It's gotten a lot better, to be fair. But do you know why? Here's an interesting one. Do you know why Google Maps is way better?
No. Has Google tracked the world more?
It's because they steal your data. It's like the main thing, right? Yeah.
So, I'm down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, if you think about it, Apple allows you to, like, not share your data and all that, so therefore they're not getting as much, right?
Right.
Yep. So that's like, interestingly enough, one of the reasons why. So yeah.
Okay.
And I'll take it. I accept.
Cool.
Questions. I will ask you something. Okay. I will start.
This is so hard.
We're watching Tokyo Revengers right now. So far, who's your favorite character?
Mikey.
Mikey?
I love Mikey so much.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
I'm a fan of Mikey kind of characters. And when he cried today, I was like, yeah, those get me. Those moments get me. It's like, I knew you're crying, man. I knew you're holding it in behind that stoic face.
Mikey's cool. I respect that.
Yeah. Is that the question?
Yeah. Okay. I was curious, actually.
Mikey, for sure.
Mikey's the leader of the gang, for those who are curious. He's, like, definitely the classic. He's meant to be a cool character. Like, they know he's... And he is. They successfully do it where, like, even me who gets jaded, I'm down.
He kicks out... Because you didn't like him at first, but he kicks so fast and easy and with a smile on his face.
He's incredibly
and he's a
consistent.
good guy.
Yo, you know what it was?
Yeah.
You know when I liked him, bro? I'm sure... Do you know the moment where I was like...
When they're bowing together at the hospital?
No, that's my boy. Dracon?
Oh.
How do you even say his name?
Draken.
Draken.
I don't know why they put it...
Doraken? But
Doraken,
it's Draken.
yeah.
Draken
in English. Sure, yeah.
Draken. That's my homeboy, because he's all about honor and stuff, and, you know.
Yeah.
But take a guess at the moment where I was like, all right, I respect Mikey now.
Oh, when he did the head thing with the guy. Yeah, like he forgave him for betraying the gang. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, that was
Mikey knows what's up. Yeah.
He's such a good...
I like when characters are true to their principles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so Mikey's like, I'm the leader of this gang. I treat it as family, and I'm gonna uphold that truth. I bought it, and I was like, Mikey's legit.
I forgot about the emotions that animes can make me feel. It's
yeah, girl. We've been catching you.
profound.
Like a week ago, you're like, I don't know if I can watch anime outside of work. I'm like, we'll see. We'll see. Let me remind you.
I don't know if I don't know if I can watch shows outside of work.
Let me remind you why you wanted to be an actress in the first place, girl. You know what I'm saying? Let me remind you. This is why, bro, because it's meaning. It makes you feel things.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Speaking of which, I was curious because people ask me all the time, what made you want to be an actor? And I never really knew. But then I was remembering moments I haven't thought about in a long time of when I was in when I was a child, we had a project or we had a little play where I got to act, and nothing got me more excited and feel more freed and liberated than when the task for me was just to act and I didn't have to worry about anything else. I remember like one project we had with in a freshman year where we had to like write a play in English class and perform it, and they were like, Grace, you're so good.
Freshman year high school?
Freshman year high school.
Wow.
And then they were like, Grace, you're so good at acting, so we'll just make you the main character. You just focus on memorizing your lines and we'll focus on writing. And no feeling felt better. I was like, oh, I don't have to focus about anything else. This is the best thing ever. And then, you know, being on set, I was like, oh, this is nice because I don't have to focus about anything else. And then when we're doing shooting here, yeah, I have to worry about the camera and the lighting, but like not really. And then it's so nice to only focus about performance and have a team that's doing everything else. And I think that's what I love about it, is just that it's so freeing just to think about one thing.
Yeah.
And that thing specifically. So anyway, yeah.
I feel the same way. I feel that, as you know, I'm big on specialization, but ironically, I've put myself in a position where, you know, my job is not like that.
A master of all you have to be.
Kind of. That's what it feels like, you know. But I say that if you recall the few months prior to this, when I was writing the first arc and doing the shot list, I would come and be like, dude, the peace, the freedom of a singular focus. It is a really powerful thing.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Felt like all my problems went away. It's like, family life not good. It's okay. I'm acting right now. Damn. Okay. Let's see. Question. This is so dumb. But wait, would you be more annoyed by if you constantly had hiccups or if you constantly had wet socks? I just thought of two things I really don't like.
It's got to be hiccups, right?
You'd rather have hiccups?
No. Hiccups is worse.
Worse. So you'd rather have wet socks.
I hate that too. You picked two things I really hate.
Yeah, they're awful. Well, during the podcast today, I got a single hiccup and I was really scared. I was like, what do you do when you get hiccups on a podcast? Thankfully, they stopped. I was able to hold my breath long enough and you talked long enough, so they went away. But, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I think wet socks you would get used to. I know. It's nasty.
I mean, sensory adaptation would allow you to not really focus on it. Yeah, you can't talk.
I hate hiccups. I hate when I get hiccups, and then when they get bad, you're not sure if it's a hiccup or if you're like going to vomit a little or something. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're like, am I dying? Am I choking? There's just another one of these regular hiccups. I hate them, and so yes, okay. Wet socks is nasty. It's kind of like also it's like, but my feeling would be like, because I hate light rain too. But
my God, tell me about it. Makes me so mad. I started putting on a mask now that at least it stops from hitting some parts of my face. But
so that's the thing though. But if it's raining so heavy and you just get stuck, eventually you're just soaking wet and you're like over it. You're like, exactly. Everything is ruined anyways.
But when you're just
and you just like accept that reality, right? It's when you're in the middle and you're like,
yeah.
So that's how I think about the wet socks, where I'm like, so long as it's horrible in the beginning, but over time it's got to be better than the friggin' hiccups. That was a good one though.
Cool. Off the top of my head. Cool.
All right. Not a bad question this week, Grace. Good for you.
Thank you.
No, that was a fun one. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to us. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out our other content on YouTube. If you are curious at seeing Grace react to anime, our Sub versus Dub videos come out weekly, and there are daily shorts as well on the Straight Shot Studios channel. As always, guys, work hard, be nice, and keep changing. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.